Welcome to this week's episode of The County Seat. I'm your host, Chad Booth, and I want to ask you a question. If you're out of money and you get in trouble, you're arrested, you think you're innocent. In fact, you know you're innocent, but you have to go to court. What do? You know that you have constitutional rights, but what do you do? Well, to make sure that our constitutional obligations are met to the citizens of the country, we provide public defenders. Public defenders are people who are appointed by the court to defend your innocence because our system of government believes that one is innocent until proven guilty. There are a lot of problems with that system, however. How do you fund it? What's fair and equitable? What are the standards for the conduct of the people that provide that defense? It's a complicated issue, but it's one we are going to tackle today on the county seat. So let's start with a little bit of background on the topic.
Innocent until proven guilty. It's the very basis of the justice system here in the United States. In order to protect that right, the Sixth Amendment to the Constitution guarantees proper defense counsel, whether or not you're able to afford it. If you're arrested in Utah, or anywhere for that matter, you will be appointed a court-ordered attorney if you can't afford it. The difference is in who pays for it.
The problem is the state of Utah is one of only 2 states in the entire country that doesn't provide any state-level support or resources whatsoever to the counties. And it means the counties are essentially on their own when it comes to providing these services.
So it becomes essentially fully a county responsibility, and in some municipal settings, a municipal responsibility to provide both prosecution and defense services in the state courts. That's a big burden.
Indigent defense, or the appointing of an attorney to an accused who can't afford one, or is a juvenile, is a basic American right. Most states fund public defense programs, but in Utah, the legal and financial responsibilities are shifted directly onto the counties, with no state money going to indigent defense at all. Most Utah counties contract with private attorneys for their indigent defense needs, but these lawyers are unable to dedicate all their time to public cases. This has led the American Civil Liberties Union to fear that individuals who can't pay for an attorney are getting substandard defense. Only 2 Utah counties have full-time public defenders, with a cost in the tens of millions. And that is in a metro area where lawyers are easy to find.
The counties in Utah are 1st through 6th class. 6th class counties have very few residents and much more space. Nevertheless, they have to provide the same service. And in fact, in those communities, it can be even more difficult than it is in Salt Lake, where there are many people that want to take these cases, many more people who are willing to take them and to run those contracts. In some of the rural counties, they may have very little choice, but they still have to provide that defense service, and they have to do it at a constitutionally minimum standard at least.
That standard can sometimes put county officials in a difficult spot. With shrinking budgets over the last 3 years and no state funding to help, even talking about indigent defense budgets can be politically questionable.
If you're a county commissioner, how are you supposed to budget for these, for these expenses, where at the beginning of the year, maybe you don't know how many people are going to be arrested and charged with crimes. What a lot of counties have tried to do to limit their costs and to make them more predictable is to put out for low bid contracts, basically. So they'll put out a request for bids, and it'll say, for X amount of money, you will agree to take on all of the cases in a given year.
While that can solve the financial problems, what happens if more people are charged with crimes than the county was expecting? That can lead to an overflow of cases that contracted attorneys just aren't prepared to deal with.
The ACLU has brought to our attention caseloads as being a major concern of theirs. It's my concern as well as a county attorney, because I don't want a defendant to go home at night and wonder if his case was just brushed over.
Currently, the ACLU is advocating an overhaul of what they consider a constitutionally inadequate court system in Utah regarding indigent defense. Whether that will come through the legislature or the courts themselves is currently unknown. Innocent until proven guilty. In a society that upholds that ideal, everyone deserves the benefit of the doubt. That benefit includes proper defense.
I think the public should know that our public defenders are professionals. They are interested in achieving results for their clients that not only addresses what's in the client's best interests, but moving them forward back into community in a successful way.
I think our tendency as a society is to think of this as, well, it's not really my problem, or it's just, criminals who need these sorts of services. I think what's really important for folks to remember is, if you get picked up on a DUI or have too many speeding tickets or, God forbid something else happens, that especially in this day and age, in these hard economic times, anyone could wind up needing a lawyer.
And if we find ourselves in that position, we all hope to be considered innocent until proven guilty, as opposed to the other way around. For the county seat, I'm Susan Wood.
We will discuss the ins and outs, the problems, the solutions, and the direction of indigent defense with our panel when we come back. We have a good representation on this issue today. We'll be back with more of the county seat in just a minute.
The State of Utah School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration. SITLA manages 3.5 million acres of Utah lands with the express purpose of furthering the education of Utah students while promoting local industry, oil and gas, even residential development, all at the same time. Through the careful use of trust lands, we distributed more than $22 million to Utah schools last year. The State of Utah School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration, building the state's permanent school fund.
What is play? Is it culture? Is it adventure? Is it... Ooh,
It's a destination.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's correct.
Cedar City and Bryan Head Resort in the heart of Iron County, where outdoor excitement, culture, and the iron industry melts together. Come and forge a new adventure where play is the thing. You haven't forgotten how to play. It's just that you haven't been to the right place yet.
I think renewable energy and wind farms is a good way to go. We have a lot of land here to do that with, and the opportunity will grow as time goes on.
If a person wants to work in Beaver County right now, they can find a job.
I can't think of a better legacy that I could have left for my town.
What are the words that describe the perfect destination? Finding them all in one place is easy if you know where to look. Gather at FILLMORE City with ATV enthusiasts for the annual National ATV Jamboree, June 20th through the 25th. Over 30 different rides in the scenic mountains and desert areas. Pick your adventure in Millard County, Utah.